After your book has converted to EPUB, you can always edit it just by clicking the Edit Book feature. And at first it may look like this, but if you click on the thing that says Title Page, you'll get a sense of the coding that's going on here, and then also a file preview to the right. And the View tab will allow you to get rid of that if you want. Of course, I don't recommend doing that. And it'll also give you some other options if you want as well, like looking at the table of contents, which will populate down here in the bottom left area, or you could X things out if you don't want to see them. Now these different items here in this text area of the book are basically designated by manual page breaks, which I have in my formatting. So the next page is going to be the title page in text, and then after that the copyright page, and you can scroll down here to see the rest of the basic coding for it, and you can scroll down here to see the rest of the page. Let's do that with an actual chapter, for example. Here's all of the coding that goes with the text in this chapter, and then here's the chapter itself, and you can scroll through it to see it like that. Let's return to the text title and give an example of a very simple change if we wanted to the editing. So here, down here is actually where we have the title written out, and that corresponds to the letters here. We could give it a bold look if we wanted to, or we could type that in the HTML code for B, basically, to give it bold. If you want to undo something, you can either go to the undo here, or there's also an undo in the Edit tab. Now maybe I want this to come down a little lower, and so these are the symbols for paragraph returns. So I'm actually just going to copy that and then paste that in maybe twice, just to give a little bit of more spacing for my title page, and you can see that it just changed that like it did. Perhaps my brother John wrote this book instead of me, and so I can just change the typing there and it will come out on the preview page. Of course, John didn't write it, I did, so I'll do that. Now anytime you make a change that you end up wanting to save, you'll need to go into the File tab and save your change, and that's okay if you want to do that. Now this editor is actually incredibly complex, and you can do just about anything, and we really don't have time to kind of do everything, but I do want to show you a few more things. I'm going to try and find the About the Author page. Oh, good, here it is. You may have an image that you decide you want to change it in size or something later, and it's best to just have it uploaded correctly in the size you like, but maybe you want to change the size of an image or something. You can actually right-click on it and go to Inspect Element. And then you'll notice down here it's got the height and the width at 144 point. Maybe if we wanted to make it half the size, we could just change them manually to 72 for each of them. And then if I close out of this, you can see that that obviously adjusted the size. And if I wanted to save it, of course, I would have to go through the file and save. I'm going to close out of here without saving and show an example. I'm going to quit without saving because I really didn't want to make that change. And I'm going to show you another example of a problem that you might possibly have. And so this book, let's view this book because it has a different kind of table of contents. So in this book, the table of contents looks like it is fine, and if you click on acknowledgements, it works properly. However, if you go to the table of contents menu item, you'll notice that only this is showing up in the table of contents, and that's actually not even a chapter. That's a heading setting, and the reason for that is from the document itself. This is the Microsoft Word document of that book, and if I scroll down to where that part is, it's here in the text, and if I put my cursor over it, you'll notice that it has a heading 2 setting. And Calibre is having trouble recognizing my heading 2 settings and assuming that it's part of the table of contents. So we're going to make a change in Calibre to that. Let's close out of the view and open the Edit Book tab. And here it is. Let's just click on the title page just so you can tell it's the same book. If you go up here through the Tools tab and the Table of Contents and Edit Table of Contents, Calibre is going to populate everything in here that it thinks might possibly be in the table of contents. And what's interesting is most of these things are not a part of the table of contents, but some of them are. And so I'm going to delete all the ones that are not. And this is actually the last chapter in the book. So I'm going to delete everything that comes after that. And if I begin with that first one, come all the way down to the bottom, hold the Shift key and click, it should highlight all of those things. And so I'm going to right click and choose Remove All Selected Items. Okay, and that's my last chapter. Let's go back and check the first one. This is not a part of the table of contents. And instead of right clicking, you can also just go over here for one at a time, removal of that entry. Now this is actually my table of contents, and those are all the chapters. So I'm going to click OK, and then we're going to save that. And we'll click Save. Great, now when we view the book, it should be fine. I'll close out of here, and we'll view the book. And here's where the table of contents was, but if we click on the table of contents in the menu, now we have a list of all of those chapters. And we can click on any one of them, and it will go to that chapter. So that's cool, and those are a couple of ways that you may edit your book. There are many, many other possibilities. Let's go to the Calibre website. At the Calibre website, if you click on the Help tab, and then the User Manual, and if you scroll down, you'll notice that there's a section on editing ebooks. And this is an unbelievably long section. But if you have any specific question, you'll be able to find answers here. And otherwise, we would literally spend hours alone just on this. So we're going to leave the editing for that, but we're going to do a little more editing in the troubleshooting section of this course.